Are you confused as to the number of news that's in the media right now in regards to property prices in Australia? Well, today in this video you should pay great attention because I'll be revealing why you shouldn't trust the median price, which is quoted by the media, and why the media uses the median price to fear-monger you. Because you've got to realize how property, there's so many sources out there, so much information. Where do you even look to the source of truth as to what's happening right now? And in Sydney right now, we're in the middle of a downturn. However, it's not as bad as the news make it out to be. And let me explain what the median price is. So the median price is defined as the middle property sold within a given period of time. So let's say there are 3 properties sold in Sydney. One for $0, one for $500,000, and one for $1 million. The median price for that period will be $500,000. Now, why is the median price not a good indicator about a particular property market? It's because it captures the entire Sydney market. And what I want you to realize is there's no such thing as a Sydney market. Within Sydney, there are multiple different markets, each having their own busts and booms. For example, in the outer suburbs in Sydney, the clearance rate for properties is 40, 45, even 30%. But in the more affluent suburbs towards the harbour, they're still having around 70, 80% of clearance rates. So there's a big difference in regards to clearance rates. And what clearance rates indicates is confidence in the market and how well the market's going in regards to how well it's selling in auction. Now, back to median price. There are many markets in Sydney, and how the median price does is during a downturn, which we are at Sydney right now, what happens is the more affluent, expensive suburbs with the big mansions and the more affluent properties, they do not sell because at this stage of the cycle they tend to be very expensive. And second of all, those who live in the suburbs, they're very affluent. They don't care about what the market's doing, so they choose when to sell and why to sell. Whereas those in the more blue-collar outer fringe suburbs, they tend to have lower disposable income, so they tend to be more vulnerable to interest rate rises, to losing loss of a job, whatever. Their financial buffer seems to be much less than the ones in the affluent suburbs. And what happens is during this downturn of the stage of the property cycle, the more cheaper properties tend to sell better because of affordability constraints. And right now we're in a very tight lending market, and this is why in this stage of the market, the cheaper properties sell more than the more expensive properties. And the median price for Sydney for houses was about 1.2 million, 1.15-ish million dollars at the peak of the boom, and now it's restarted to about 1.1 million. So this does not mean every single house in Sydney lost $50,000. What this means is more properties are sold on the cheaper end of the bell curve. So you can picture the median as a bell curve. So the bell curve like this, the median can be the middle of it. So if more properties are sold cheaper than the median price, so that's 1.1 million, let's say it's more being sold for 500,000 for example, the median price shifts to the left. So you're seeing it on the camera, I'll put it that way, or left that way. And what this means is the median price will fall. It does not mean every single property in Sydney has devalued by $50,000. This is what the news try to fearmonger investors and other first-home buyers. This is why they do it. It doesn't mean everything fell in value. It means more properties are sold that is cheaper on the lower end of the price spectrum than the high end. This is why it shifts. Does that make sense? So this is the big misconception behind median price, and I don't think median price is a very accurate measure of house prices. And this is why you should not just rely on median price and what the media tells you. You should rely on your own independent research. So as an investor, you should be doing your own research as to different sub-markets in Sydney, and you'll realize that different markets that perform at different stages of the cycle. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and share this video to those who are thinking about buying a property and a bit uncertain about the market right now in Sydney or Australia in general, because there is a lot of white noise, and I'm here to educate you in making the best informed decision in property. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know in the comments box below what you want to know about properties so I can make more videos to educate you as an investor. And I'll see you on the next video soon. Take care.